This video was recorded live before a canned studio audience. It's Friday Night Movie Reviews, and here they are, Chris and Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Keith.
I'm Chris.
And this is Friday Night Movie Reviews. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be reviewing another movie tonight, but this is not going to be one that we saw in the theaters, at least not at this time. This is part of our
rental review series,
where you could at some point in the past go back to Blockbuster and rent a movies if you remember Blockbusters. I actually went and saw this movie at the theater. That's how old I am.
I saw this movie after it came out on HBO. That's how old I am.
Wow.
And we probably rented it from Movie Gallery back in the day, because we had a Movie Gallery. We didn't have a Blockbuster till I was nearly in high school. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Movie Gallery was the other big place.
You must have lived out in the sticks, man.
I lived out in the sticks, all right. Yeah, I definitely did.
Wow. A Movie Gallery. Okay.
Hey, they had the 5 for $5 deal. 5 movies, 5 nights, $5. That's
wow.
That was big. That was a huge weekend for us.
I think I remember seeing a couple of movie galleries, but Blockbuster just kind of wiped them out in this area.
That's the reason why our rental review series is so dear to my heart, because this harkens back to the rental store, and this is one that you would see in the rental store, and you would rent it, occasionally just to. You'd be like, oh, I need a hankering for a Michael Keaton movie, and this is the one that you would get off the shelf,
And in case you haven't guessed, you're looking at our handbook for the recently deceased. The movie that we're going to be reviewing tonight is Beetlejuice, not the more recent one that has just come out in theaters. This is the one that came out in the 80s.
Yep, 1988.
1988. So. If you enjoyed that movie, then we're going to be reviewing it, and we're going to give you our opinion on it. And you can either tell us how wrong we are, or you can tell us how right we are in the comments. So, the basic premise of the movie is you have Michael Keaton's character. We got to be careful not to say it 3 times, because if you say his name 3 times, he appears in the material world. And he just wreaks havoc. And I guess he basically attaches himself to you and haunts you.
Yeah, and he makes a mess, and we have to, that's a lot of mopping and stuff, and it's hard to get it off these windows back here.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
it's just terrible. It's terrible. We have to mop the floors, we have to clean the desk, so and then we got to get him back somehow, and
I have to call the Ghostbusters. It's a whole thing. Dan Aykroyd these days, he's doing his radio show. He's hard to get on the phone.
Right. So it's just a terrible mess. So. We try not to say his name as little as possible. So, anyway, Michael Keaton's character plays the main title character, and he is basically this ghost that haunts just about anybody. But he later on in the movie, he latches onto Winona Ryder's character. And Winona Ryder and her family move into this house.
Yeah, they're the Dietzes. They move into the Maitland's house after the Maitlands die, and then the house gets sold to the Dietzes.
Right.
And of course, the Maitlands are played by the Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Yep.
And so the Maitlands they don't really realize that they're dead. So they're going about their regular life, and then all of a sudden these people move in. And then it starts to come back to them that they are dead, that they have died, and they have this book sitting somewhere in their house, and they wonder what it is and where it came from. But then it takes Michael Keaton's character to convince them and show them that they really are dead, because they just don't believe it. And so he finally convinces them that he's dead, or that they are dead. And so they end up
enlisting his help because they cannot scare these people off. These
Right.
people are from the city. They're not fazed by bed sheets or any of that kind of stuff. They seem to be in their own like warped little world, and nothing they seem to be doing is working, and they're almost at desperate ends. And they're even warned by people on the other side, hey, don't hire this guy. He's bad news.
Right.
And he's a self-proclaimed bio-exorcist. That's what he calls himself.
Yeah. So he gives them pointers on how to get these people out of their house. And of course, they try these things and they go through the handbook of the dead, the handbook for the recently deceased, and they try to figure out ways to get these people out of their house. And they just won't go. They won't go because they're just super weird people.
Yep. And so finally they get desperate enough. They say his name 3 times, and he almost hurts the Mr. Dietz. And they're like, oh no, we've made a mistake. We just need to let these people live here in peace. We've got to accept that we need to move on.
Right.
Basically. And
get along with them while they're doing it. But at the same time, now they're going to try and help get Michael Keaton's character back on the other side where he belongs.
Yep. And he's staying around, and he's an opportunist. That's the one thing that you'll notice about his character. He's just like, how I just have to prey on you being desperate enough to want to use me.
Right.
And this hilarity ensues, and he basically takes advantage of the situation because even though he's the title character for the film, he is the villain in the movie.
Yes, he is a villain. So don't get that wrong, people, like some other reviewers have. He's a villain, and he doesn't do things that, good guys would do because he's just that kind of a person.
Now, you're asking yourself, like, should you show this to kids? This is the same thing that came out we talked about with the sequel in our other series. The question, can your kids handle it? You kind of have to use your judgment there because this is a PG-13 movie, and it's bendy in a lot of ways. Like there is some language in the film that you need to be aware of. He does use the F word once in it, because it is a PG-13 movie. They're allowed to say it once. There is some adult humor in it, mostly dark humor, but there are some like adult-oriented jokes that probably go over a kid's head. But still, you're going to be sitting there cringing a little bit if they actually see it or hear it, and you just be like, you're hoping they don't notice it, kind of deal.
And really, the basic premise of the movie is that Michael Keaton's character falls in love with Winona Ryder's character, Lydia Dietz.
Yep.
He falls in love with her, and he wants to marry her, and that's his key to get back into the material world. So, if you're, and supposedly he's like, he died a long time ago, and so he's somewhere around, if you calculate his death into it too, his death years, he's somewhere around 600 years old or something like that. And she's, how old is she supposed to be in that movie?
She's supposed to be 15.
15?
Yeah.
15. So you have a 600-year-old kind of having googly eyes for a 15-year-old. So if you're not really comfortable with that kind of thing, and if you're not comfortable with your kids seeing that kind of thing, especially in this day and age with what some of the things that might be going on, then you may want to hold off on this movie.
Yeah. This one's a little bit more extreme than its sequel. It's a dark humor. It's comedy. It definitely has like the little horror elements, but not like Halloween horror elements.
Right.
It's just some of the makeup might be scary for some of the little kids or the more sensitive children that can't handle that kind of thing. Just similar to what we said in the sequel review for this film.
Right. So, that's the basic premise of the movie, and those are the things you need to watch out for. Now, you might want to think about, well, should I rent this movie? Should I buy this movie and add it to my DVD or Blu-ray collection? Should I find somewhere to stream it and watch it if you haven't seen it before? And if you haven't seen it, then I don't know where you've been because a lot of people have seen it. But I personally, I like the movie. There, like I said, there were some kind of cringe-worthy kind of things about it, but overall, I liked the movie. It has, it's Tim Burton style, so
You know what you're getting into if
It's-
you know Tim Burton. Yeah.
it's got the stop action kind of stuff in it. So there are some it's really off the wall and weird, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. The music fits the whole thing. Danny Elfman does the soundtrack for this one, and the music fits. Everything's just well done about this movie, and it really set the precedent for the sequel that came out.
Yep. And of course, our tagline for this one's always, if you're low on cash and you have plenty of time, this one is definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
This one's a classic in my eyes. It still holds up after 36 years.
Right.
I say give it a watch. Definitely a 10 out of 10 comedy for me as far as that goes. It definitely has a lot of nostalgia. So maybe I am clouded a little bit by nostalgia because I have watched this since I was a child. So
you'd give it 10 sodas?
10 sodas, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty super. I'd probably give it about nine sodas, or 9 popcorns. So yeah, it's really that good. For me, yes, it does bring back a lot of nostalgia. It was 1988, and it brings back a lot of memories for me. So I enjoy watching it. So if you find yourself wanting to watch a movie and you just don't have anything else to watch and you want to watch that one, hey, you know what? Grab the DVD off the rack, pop it in the player, enjoy yourself some good movie with some good dead people.
All right, well, remember to like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell for the notification for when our next video drops. Leave us a comment. Let us know if there's some other video or anything you want us to review. Thank you.
Right. Let us tell your friends and family about us. Remember, go to the theater, watch a good movie, pop one in the player, and enjoy your movie. Thank you for joining us. Good night.